welcome to Heavy Searching. We're going to be reading a story, but first we're going to be reading Bible, and then we're going to be doing the synopsis, and then we're going to be reading the Pilgrim's Progress. Hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to like button, subscribe, and hit the bell to never miss another video. It is my dad's turn, so I'm going to teleport you guys real quick. Whoop. Still teleporting. Whoop.
Had no idea that I was coming, did you? All right, so we're on Exodus chapter 17. I'm waiting for everyone to open their Bibles. Or find their Bibles.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so I told you it's short. All right, so this is maybe the only short chapter in the book of Exodus. So we're going to read from the English Standard Version, and let me begin. All the congregation of the people of Israel moved on from the wilderness of sin by stages according to the commandment of the Lord, and camped at Rephidim, but there was no water for the people to drink. Therefore the people quarreled with Moses and said, "Give us water to drink." And Moses said to them, "Why do you quarrel with me? Why do you test the Lord?" But the people thirsted there for water, and the people grumbled against Moses and said, "Why did you bring us up out of Egypt to kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst?" So Moses cried to the Lord, "What shall I do with this people? They are almost ready to stone me." And the Lord said to Moses, "Pass on before the people, taking with you some of the elders of Israel, and take in your hand the staff with which you struck the Nile, and go. Behold, I will stand before you there on the rock at Horeb, and you shall strike the rock, and water shall come out of it, and the people will drink." And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel, and he called the name of the place Massah and Meribah, because of the quarreling of the people of Israel, and because they tested the Lord by saying, "Is the Lord among us or not?" Then Amalek came and fought with Israel at Rephidim. So Moses said to Joshua, "Choose for us men, and go out and fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the staff of God in my hand." So Joshua did as Moses told him, and fought with Amalek, while Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. Whenever Moses held up his hand, Israel prevailed, and whenever he lowered his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hand grew weary, so they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it while Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side and the other on the other side. So his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. And Joshua overwhelmed Amalek and his people with the sword. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Write this as a memorial in a book, and recite it in the ears of Joshua, that I will utterly blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven." And Moses built an altar and called the name of it, "The Lord is my banner," saying, "A hand upon the throne of the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation." That is the end of chapter 17. So if I recall, in chapter 16, the people were whining because they didn't have food. God gave them manna. In chapter 17, now the people are whining because they didn't have water, and God gave them water. So Moses is about ready to be done with these people, though. They're pretty whiny.
They're almost like us, except worse.
Almost like us, except I don't know if they're worse. But almost like us, that's for sure. Okay, so in the last chapter we had three individuals that were interrogating Christian, and one of the individuals was murder, and the next one was death, and the other one was kill.
No, it
And
was explosions.
So they all interrogated Christian, and in the end, there was a murder, death, kill, and they prevailed. And here's Kimberly to say how it really happened.
Seriously, Dad? Murder, death, and kill?
You never will. It's a
Okay, it was piety, prudence, and
Piety, prudence, and charity.
charity, yes. And they basically were like, so you left your family? No, I didn't. I gave them literal years warning that I was leaving, and they didn't come with me, and they absolutely were against me going, in fact. So, yeah. Oh. I don't exactly remember much else other than that.
Okay.
There wasn't really much that happened. Like always.
Right. We are reading these one chapter at a time so that we can focus on what we're reading. And also it keeps the live stream rather short while we're doing these. So we're on now chapter 16, which is Peace in the Palace, sort of like my own home. So I'm looking forward to some nostalgia of my own home. Peace in the Palace. Let us begin. Now I saw in my dreams that thus they sat talking together until supper was ready. So when they had made ready, they sat down to meat. Now the table was furnished with fat things and with wine that was well refined, and all their talk at the table was about the Lord of the hill, as namely about what he had done, and wherefore he did what he did, and why he had builded that house, and by what they said. I perceived that he had been a great warrior, and had fought with and slain him that had the power of death, but not without great danger to himself, which made me love him the more. For, as they said, and as I believe, For, as they said, and as I believe, said Christian, he did it with the loss of much blood. But that which put the glory of grace into all he did was that he did it out of pure love to his country. And besides, there were some of them of the household that said they had been and spoke with him since he did die on the cross. And they have attested that they had it from his own lips, and that he is such a lover of poor pilgrims that the like is not to be found from the east to the west. They, moreover, gave an instance of what they affirmed, and that was he had stripped himself of his glory, that he might do this for the poor, and that they heard him say and affirm that he would not dwell in the mountain of Zion alone. They said, moreover, that he had made many pilgrims princes, though by nature they were beggars born, and their original had been the dunghole. Thus they discouraged together till late at night, and after they had committed themselves to their Lord for protection, they betook themselves to rest. The pilgrim they laid in a large upper chamber, whose window opened toward the sun rising. The name of the chamber was Peace, where he slept till break of day. And then he awoke and sang, Where am I now? Is this the love and care of Jesus for the men that pilgrims are? Thus to provide that I should be forgiven and dwell already the next door to heaven. So in the morning they all got up, and after some more discourse they told him that he should not depart till they had shown him the rarities of that place. And first they had him into the study, where they showed him records of the greatest antiquity, in which, as I remember my dream, they showed him the pedigree of the Lord of the Hill, that he was the son of the Ancient of Days, and came by eternal generation. Here also was more fully recorded the acts that he had done, and the names of many hundreds that he had taken into his service, and how he had placed them in such habitations that could neither by length of days nor decays of nature be dissolved. Then they read to him some of the worthy acts that some of his servants had done, and how they had subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions, quenched the violence of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, out of weakness were made strong, waxed valiant in a fight, and turned to flight the armies of the aliens. Then they read again another part of the records of the house, where it was shown how willing their Lord was to receive into his favor any, if even any, though they in time past had offered great affronts to his person and proceedings. Here also were several other histories of many other famous things, of all which Christian had a view, as of things both ancient and modern, together with prophecies and predictions of things that have their certain accomplishment, both to the dread and amazement of enemies, and the comfort and solace of pilgrims. The next day they took him and had him into the armory, where they showed him all manner of furniture which their Lord had provided for pilgrims, as sword, shield, helmet, breastplate, all prayer, and shoes that would not wear out. And there was here enough of this to harness out as many men for the service of their Lord as there be stars in the heaven for multitude. They also showed him some of the engines with which some of his servants had done wonderful things. They showed him Moses' rod, the hammer and nail with which Jael slew Sisera, the pitchers, trumpets, and lambs too, with which Gideon put to flight the armies of Midian. Then they showed him the ox goad wherewith Shamgar slew 600 men. They showed him also the jawbone with which Samson did such mighty feats. They showed him moreover the sling and stone with which David slew Goliath of Gath, and the sword also with which their Lord will kill the man of sin in the day that he shall rise up to the prey. They showed him besides many excellent things with which Christian was much delighted. This done, they went to their rest again. Then I saw in my dream that on the morrow he got up to go forward, but they desired him to stay till the next day also. And then, said they, we will, if the day be clear, show you the delectable mountains, which, they said, would yet farther add to his comfort, because they were nearer the desired haven than the place where at present he was. So he consented and stayed. When the morning was up, they had him to the top of the house, and bid him look south. So he did, and behold, at a great distance he saw a most pleasant mountainous country, beautified with woods, vineyards, fruits of all sorts, flowers also, with springs and fountains, very delectable to behold. Then he asked the name of the country. They said it was Emmanuel's land, and it is as common, said they, as this hill is to and for all the pilgrims. And when thou comest here or there, from thence thou mayest see to the gate of the celestial city, as the shepherds that lived there will make appear. Now he bethought himself of setting forward, and they were willing he should. But first, said they, let us go again into the armory. So they did, and when he came there, they harnessed him from head to foot with what was of proof, lest perhaps he should meet with assaults in the way. He being therefore thus accoutred, walked out with his friends to the gate, and there he asked the porter if he saw any pilgrim pass by. Then the porter answered, "Yes." "Christian, pray, did you know him?" said he. The porter, "I asked his name, and he told me it was Faithful." Christian, "Oh," said Christian, "I know him. He is my townsman, my near neighbor. He comes from the place where I was born. How far do you think he may be before?" The porter, "He has got by this time below the hill." Christian, "Well," said Christian, "good porter, the Lord be with thee, and add to all thy plain blessings much increase for the kindness that thou hast showed me." Then he began to go forward, but discretion, piety, and charity, and prudence would accompany him down to the foot of the hill. So they went on together, reiterating their former discourses, till they came to go down the hill. Then said Christian, "As it was difficult coming up, so far I can see, it is dangerous going down." "Yes," said Prudence, "so it is. For it is a hard matter for a man to go down into the valley of humiliation, as thou art now, and to catch no slip by the way. Therefore, said they, we are come out to accompany thee down the hill. So he began to go down, but very warily, yet he caught a slip or two. Then I saw in my dream that these good companions, when Christian was got down to the bottom of the hill, gave him a loaf of bread, a bottle of wine, and a cluster of raisins, and then he went on his way. Whilst Christian is among his godly friends, their golden mouths make him sufficient mends for all his griefs, and when they let him go, he's clad in northern steel from top to toe. And that is the end of chapter 16. Chapter 17 is all about the battle with Apollyon, and the first word is but. So one thing that I wanted to mention, this story between Jael and Sisera seems like we never can get away from it. So there it is once again in our story. Jael slew Sisera with a hammer and nail. And so...
With a blowtorch.
No, not a blowtorch. So that is where we will end it for today. God bless you. I hope that you have a super duper night, and we will see you again next time. God bless.